Ireland today cannot afford to heat and to light their homes. Electricity prices are way ahead of 2019. Gas and solid fuel is also ahead of 2019. Families' heating bills have gone up dramatically, and this has been compounded by the increase in carbon taxes and subsidisation of data centres. And while we do need to increase the fuel allowance, we do need a longer-term strategy to address fuel poverty.
Thank you, Deputy, for raising this important matter. The fuel allowance is a payment of €28 per week for 28 weeks, a total of €784 each year from October to April, to 370,000 low-income households at an estimated cost of €300 million in 2021. The purpose of this payment to assist these households with their energy costs. The allowance represents a contribution towards the energy costs of a household. It is not intended to meet those costs in full. Only one allowance is paid per household. The criteria for fuel allowance are framed in order to direct the limited resources available to my department in as targeted a manner as possible. All recipients of non-contributory payments are accepted as satisfying the means test for fuel. People who are in receipt of a qualifying contributory payment must also satisfy a means test. A fuel applicant and members of his or her household may have a combined assessable income of up to €100 a week above the appropriate rate of state pension contributory and qualify for a payment. This ensures that the fuel allowance payment goes to those who are more vulnerable to fuel poverty, including those reliant on social protection payments for longer periods and who are unlikely to have additional resources of their own. Any decision to amend the criteria would have to be considered in the overall policy and budgetary context. This year, funds raised through the carbon tax will again support targeted social welfare and other initiatives to alleviate fuel poverty and ensure a just transition. In this regard, in the forthcoming budget, the Government will consider how it can support people on low incomes and those on social welfare payments. The outcome of these considerations will be announced on Budget Day.
Minister, in Project Ireland 2040, I secured a budget of €4 billion to carry out deep retrofits and energy efficiency measures to take dirty fossil fuels out of our heating system by the middle of the next decade. But the challenge is in actually physically achieving those targets. Now, one of the main measures in relation to fuel poverty is improving energy efficiency in our homes. 7,000 families in receipt of the fuel allowance are today waiting over 26 months to actually have those retrofits carried out. And as you're aware, Minister, in the Joint Oireachtas Committee pre-budget recommendations to you, they've asked you to engage directly with the Minister for the Environment to actually fast-track the delivery of those projects, and secondly, to introduce a half-rate fuel allowance for people that are just over the income threshold.
Thank you. Antara.
Okay, thank you. Well, just to say, as you know, Deputy, my colleague Minister Ryan, the Minister of Environment, Climate and Communication, has the role of reducing energy poverty by implementing measures to improve the energy efficiencies of Irish homes. And also in 2016, the Government launched a comprehensive strategy to combat energy poverty following extensive publication. And yourself, Minister Naughten, you're very familiar with that, you were involved in it. This strategy was spearheaded by the Minister for the Environment, Climate and Communications, and it does set out the Government's commitment to protecting vulnerable households from energy poverty through a combination of supports, investment in schemes to improve energy efficiency and energy efficiency awareness initiatives. And you're absolutely right. The best long-term approach here is to make sure homes are warmer, and we need to invest in energy efficiency. And the Government is committed to supporting households with their energy costs through energy efficiency measures, with a total retrofit budget in excess of €280 million. You have raised the issue about the delays. And I expect that COVID has made this situation somewhat worse, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be addressing it, and I will raise the matter with Minister Ryan directly.
Yeah, the delays were there under Minister Bruton as well, I'm afraid, Minister. And yes, look, we do need to increase the fuel allowance, we need to increase the rate, we need to extend the period, and that needs to happen in this budget. But this is going to be a treadmill, Minister, unless we take a long-term strategic approach to improving the energy efficiency of every home throughout the country. And yes, we need to target those that are fuel poor. We also need to develop clustered bungalow housing for older people in our towns and villages so that they can sell up that older, big, large house and move into far more energy efficient homes closer to services as well. And government needs to drive that. And we also need to ensure that those families that are over those income thresholds, that can't afford to put the capital investment along with the grant aid, are able to access 0% free loans to actually carry out the retrofits that are needed to their homes.
Thank you, Deputy, and you have raised a number of points there that stretch over a number of departments, but I think you will appreciate that I can't announce the social protection budget here today, but I can assure you that the Government is acutely aware of the recent energy price increases and their impact on households. But it's also important to say that we are doing a lot already to help people with their fuel costs. So, thank you.